What's up, guys? Guy, whoever that is. What's up, El Cap? How you doing, buddy? Marco. Marco, you got beat tonight, man. El Cap got here before you. Look, anytime I go live, Marco is almost always the first one in the chat, and I appreciate it. What it do, Ryan? What's going on, man? Down here at the shop tonight, got the compressor back going. All that worked out, working on these the fret designed by John Evans. I'm going to make some minor changes on this, guys. This is the very first one. I'm going to move this choil back about a half inch. Give us a little more, just a little bit more cutting surface. As you can see, even with my big fingers, when I choke up on it there, I kind of wasted at least a 1/4 inch there, if not 3/8 of cutting space that could have been used. So gonna make some more of those tonight. Plan on working on the giveaway knife for Bob DeMarco. Could possibly be the only clip point I ever make. It's not that I'm not a fan of clip points. I like this clip point. It just, I don't have a whole lot of passion for it, but yeah, as much as Bob likes clip points, I figured I'd make one giveaway on there. El Cap, I don't know that I will ever trust myself to regrind somebody's pocket knife. Maybe one of these days, but I don't foresee it in the near future. I just, if it's my grind and I mess it up, well, it changes the design of the knife a little bit. Especially if it's your high-end pocket knife and I mess it up, that's not okay. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with that right now. It takes a very keen eye and a lot of precision work to do those regrinds. And I'm just not ready for it, is all I'm getting at. But got a bunch of knives laying over here ground, a bunch of my Homestead model. You notice these aren't named anything nefarious. That's just because they're just that. They're my Homesteads. These are just a basic outdoors drop point knife. But I got to get one of those together for Mr. P&W Fun Stuff. I've owed it to him for a while. I've got a lot of stuff laying here, man. A lot of stuff ready for heat treat. This is still my favorite knife I make by far, and it hasn't been very popular. This is my Heathen. Ryan, this is what I was telling you. Instead of buying another Thug, I'd really like to make you one of these, man. This is a badass knife. It's a little bit intimidating, but it's my favorite by far, and I just can't seem to get them to take off in popularity like I want them to. Then I've got Mr. Mad Jocko's knife here in crew wear. I already have one of those done, but it's in Nitro V. He's about to receive it. He's been waiting too long as well, but here it is. So hopefully that'll be on its way to Kyle here in the next day or two. Feeling pretty good today, so I thought I'd come down and see what I can get done. Let me go turn these lights on over here. If I can get one of these butts or not, fat butt might not let me. Oh, yeah. This might not be the most entertaining type of work that I do, but I've got another batch of Thugs I'm working on. I've got this one cut out. It's not drilled yet, but I've got a bunch more of these to shape and cut out. So that's what I've got to do tonight, because I have got to get this stack of steel ready for heat treat, man. I've just put it off for too long. I haven't really put it off. You guys know why it's not done. My regulars do anyway. It's because I've been struggling to motivate myself to get up and do something. So we're doing it today. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this thug, I'm going to lay it out onto these blank pieces of metal, and just spray paint over it and get that pattern onto those so that I can match them. Close as I can get to match anyway. What color is this? Oh, that's polyurethane. I need that. I'm just going to shoot a little paint on these, get this pattern on here. I don't think I'm stepping on anybody's toes on a Thursday night. I know DeMarco goes live later, but I think it's still a bit early. Worry about him. So yeah, just like that. I'm just going to lay that down there. Oh, this paint is no good. Stuff is running out. Jesus. All right. I'm going to have to talk to me here about him supplying me with some more paint. That one ain't no count. Kind of surprised he's not here, in all honesty. Wouldn't doubt if he doesn't show up. Wouldn't surprise me at all if he did. It's not like this has to be precision anyway. We're just putting a pattern on this steel. How was you guys' day? I know y'all ain't paying me no attention. Y'all talking to each other, and that's fine. I had a Rattle Can of blue spray paint right here I was using. I liked it a lot better. Stood out better. But I'm sure I laid it somewhere stupid. Can't remember where that's at now. Look one more time. Really, any color other than gray would be better. Oh yeah, here's some yellow. Yellow looks good. I posted a question on Instagram today. I haven't checked to see if it's had any comments, and I really didn't post it for clicks or whatever. I was really hoping for some answers, man. It's a conversation I'd really like to have with everybody. And that question was, how many tons of fact would it take? Fact, F-A-C-T. How many tons of facts would it take to influence your emotion? Change your emotion. What I mean by that, I see a lot of drama in every community. Don't get me wrong, all of them. But kind of started realizing that even when somebody says something that is factual, people react with emotion, and it's like, because of their emotion, the fact doesn't matter. You know, when you, it's just weird to me that we can make a factual statement because it affects somebody emotionally. It's like the fact doesn't matter anymore, or it doesn't exist, or it's less than the emotion. And I don't get that. I'm confused by that. But it's in everything, you know. It's in politics and or morals or beliefs, whatever you want to call it. Everything's affected by it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's correct. That's 5 of them. All right. But I mean, if you guys would, I mean, I'm not asking you to answer in here because oh, I appreciate that, Mimo. Because you know, I wouldn't be able to see it if y'all guys answering here, but I think that's a pretty good question we all could ask ourselves and kind of see what we come up with, because it seems like now our emotion and our knee-jerk response has become more relevant than fact. And you know, I've been trying to spread facts in the mostly, you know, within the knife community, and I realized that it's very rare that somebody argues the fact with me. Almost every time they respond with their emotion. And I'm just confused as to why that is. And my question that I posted on Instagram was, and it doesn't matter the unit of measure, guys, I said tons, but how much fact does it require to impact your emotion, or to even override your emotion? Maybe to the point that your emotion doesn't matter anymore. Because that is kind of the world we're living in. You know, we knee-jerk react to things that upset us, and ignore the fact of the situation sometimes. And I'm not looking to have a debate or argument about any particular topic. I feel like it's in everything, though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. It seems like it's in everything, you know. And we all do it. I'm guilty of it too. I'm not bad-mouthing anybody for it. It's just, I wish I could think of a topic that's not too controversial that we could compare this to. But it's like, well, it's kind of like the topic of, and this is a controversial one, it shouldn't, but it's kind of like the topic of who is physically stronger, men or women. Why are we arguing that? Why is that because the facts are there. It's just biology. It's there. There is no arguing it. Yet we let ourselves become offended, or maybe we're being defensive for a particular side. And it's just like, well, fuck the biology and fuck the facts. You know, it's it doesn't matter, because my emotion, my knee-jerk reaction, my emotion to what you're talking about, you're upsetting me, so none of those facts matter. And Vogel Muller, whoever the fuck you are, you can fuck off and get out of here. Somebody ban that guy if they can. If somebody's in here to do it, I don't censor people's speech in here, but I'm not having that bullshit either. And I don't even know what your stance is, and don't care. You're more than free to talk about that. It is a topic. It's not a topic in here. I'll show you guys what I'm doing here in a second. All I'm doing is painting on this shape so that I can cut these out. Try to get them all as close to the same as I possibly can. I'm never going to nail it perfectly just due to my process. But I want them as close as I can get them. I know a lot of people are thinking, everybody else uses layout fluid, and they do. There's nothing wrong with layout fluid. I just don't have any. And spray paint works just fine. I hate that I'm beating around the bush so much, but it's because I don't want to bring up the exact topic that I'm thinking of. But I think you guys get it. I think y'all are smart enough to understand what I'm saying. You know, if I wanted to start a conversation about 15V having higher edge retention than S30V, we all know that's just a pure fact. Now, if I had the conversation about 15V being better than something else, well, now that's opinionated. But if we're talking about higher edge retention at the appropriate HRCs, that's just a fact. But if I talked about it long enough, I would find somebody who loves S30V so much, they're so passionate about it, that they would ignore the chemistry, the facts. They would ignore that to argue with me anyway. I didn't have 15V back then, Cheeto, unfortunately. I'm trying to remember what that knife was, but I'm almost positive. Almost positive it was S35. That's burned into my brain that was the comparison, was that 1095 with better cutting geometry, a thinner blade, within a couple hours was really ripping and tearing, and we switched to my knife and cut all day. And the only reason I bring this up, guys, is because it's weird to me and it's sad to me that I think it's weird and sad that friendships are affected, especially when it's between two people or 2 million people, and the majority of their beliefs are so close to begin with. It's just sad that stuff like that comes between us, I think. No, we're not talking about nothing. We ain't gonna get into nothing controversial, man. Because I don't have a topic other than, you apply your own topic, whatever that is. Why are we now acting this way? All right, so I got some loud work to do, guys. I got a bunch of angle grinder work to do. I know y'all will keep yourselves entertained while I sling a bunch of sparks over here, but I'm going to get some of these knives cut out, start shaping them. I'll move my bucket of water over here so I can throw them in it. Because they'll be hot after I cut them. Grab my gloves. But the one thing I do think I figured out, guys, is that when it comes to these conversations, debates, arguments, whatever, it is very apparent that the facts don't matter anymore. And I think that's disturbing, even borderline dangerous. Homer, I agree with that 100%, buddy. And you know, when I say that, maybe there's been times when I was willing to sacrifice myself on a hill that really doesn't matter. So, I'm not bad mouthing anybody. I'm just talking about the human condition, and I'm part of it. even short of dying on a hill, Homer, you know, it's much less serious, but ruining a friendship, a possible friendship, whatever the metric is there, is it even worth that? Because I've done it, and the more I look back on it, the more I think it's not. I just have a hard time ignoring fact when I'm being argued with emotion. And just in case y'all are wondering, I have not been in an argument with anyone recently, or there's nothing personal in my life that led to this chain of thought. Some of you probably know what I'm referring to. The little situation that's been going on for the past few days. It has nothing to do with me, but it's just got me to thinking, that's all. Thank you, Kyle. I feel a little bad for that because, like I said, I don't like censoring people's speech. But when you post a comment like that, 99% of the time, the odds are you're trying to evoke a hateful response. So you won't see that much in here, but there's just topics we're just not going to touch. There's other places you can go do that. That is one of the downsides of doing the vertical lives. You got those people on the internet just bouncing from room to room, wanting to find somewhere to start an argument and see how mad they can make people. But I'm not going to let it stop me from doing it. Don't take the bait, right? It's a trap. that was coming. I could feel it getting weaker. For any of you guys who have to go to Harbor Freight to buy cutting wheels, if you've ever wondered if the Hercules discs are worth the extra couple of bucks over whatever the other brand is, they absolutely are. I really think time-wise, I could accomplish removing this much steel about the same using my belt grinder, but these are way cheaper than grinding belts, so. Also way more dangerous. I don't like that angle. Oh yeah, guys, before I forget, for you guys who know who Lee Wolf is, he's in Javon's channel a whole lot. He's back in the hospital. He's been in and out of the hospital a lot. You guys keep him in your thoughts or prayers or whatever it is you do. But yeah. Doesn't, the best I can tell, he's not the type that publicizes when he's not doing well. But just so y'all did, in case y'all didn't know. case you guys are wondering what steels we're working with, that first batch was crew wear, and these are Magna Cut. Two different designs. One more. Then we move to the grinder. The belt grinder. The only downside to having you guys here with me in the chat is not being able to play music. But we lost a lot of participants. Mimo, it's not. I am interested in picking up one, but they're not. I don't think they're very cheap. Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea at all, actually. Well, I'm thinking about it. I am going to add my face shield on top of these shot glasses. I'd kind of quit using them when the weather was weird. I couldn't get them to stop fogging up. So I switched back to just glasses. But now I need to find my face shield. It doesn't really bother me. It just bothered me when I couldn't see through it because of it fogging on me. But I could probably go back to wearing it now. If I knew where it was at. Oh, there it is. All right. I'll sit y'all down and grab it. Gotta clean it. A little dusty. Well, I look professional now. was smart of me to weather the last one. Get proper PPE. Well, that didn't last very long. But compared to what battery powered used to be, hard to complain. Nine people in here. Well, we're not popular tonight. I gotta go fill my water pail, guys. Give me just a minute. All right, let's get to shaping. Turn that off. This is why most people have them water jugs to alleviate all this time. What's up, Drizzy? break for a second. Oh, you just trying to remind y'all what we're making. That's what we're making right there. Hey, I like that maker's mark. Pretty proud of that. I don't think I'll get all these ground out tonight. Already feeling a bit fatigued, but we'll get done what we can. Go over here and cut a couple of shoals into these. I've already got ground out. I'm gonna put some lines in that, make it speed up a little bit. Nice, pretty tool. Well, that's wore out. Doesn't drink water. And cool that off. I've only got one more of these studs. I guess I'll go ahead and grind it out while I'm here. At least I can say I finished those. That's something I've never done before. I've never used foam wheel. It's actually kind of handy to doing some of the rough work. wasn't all that bad. That's the hardest thing to spend time grinding is straight lines. I'll be lucky if I get another toil out of this drum. It's pretty wore out. We're gonna give it a shot. Actually cut pretty good. Probably because I made those pre-cuts though. All right, that's a whole batch of thugs shaped. Well, I got a little bit of a second wind. I think I'll start on one of these frets, just for shits and giggles. In case y'all wonder what we're grinding here, for those of you who haven't been here the whole time, grinding one of these out of this. These are in Magna cut. Well, let's see if we can get another shoal out of it. Yep, we did indeed get one more. She's shot now for sure. Wait a minute, that don't seem as deep as the other one. Let me double check that. It is not. Still got a little ways to go. I knew that knife looked awful thick there. I'm gonna wear this one down to nothing. The sanding drum, I mean. Check it now. Be right back. Show y'all what I did here, what I was talking about earlier if you were here. know if you can see that, but I backed that choil up a little bit to conserve, well, I guess you can see it best there, to conserve a little, that last 1/4 inch of cutting edge. There's a fret. Still got a bunch of holes to be drilled and stuff. I'm not drilling holes tonight. We've got some questions about hole diameter. I'm trying to get straightened out before I nail those down, make a decision, and it'd be wrong. I just realized I do have one more thug. This one's in Nitro V though, it's not crew wear. I'm gonna get it cut out too, I guess. Hadn't planned on making mini thugs in Nitro V anymore. I really prefer them in crew wear. But there's always some folks out there that needs a little better price. I did realize today I'm going to have to change a little bit of stuff in my billing. Not going up, but I can't absorb shipping anymore. It's eating me alive. I shipped one knife today. Well, I ain't gonna complain about it. It just builds up so quick. Before you know it, if you did have any profits, you spend it all at the post office. You can really tell that lower carbide content in the Nitro V versus the crew wear. They magna cut it. It just cuts so much easier. We'll get this one shaped out. I got a sheath to make in a little bit. I may call it a night. What's up, Paul? Hey, Terry. Terry, I don't know if you heard me in the live last night, but that knife that burnt relic one, I'm going to send that to Kyle for sharpening. Then he's going to send it to you for a sheath so that you can send it to burnt relic. That's good with you. All right, guys, my hands are getting shaky. I'm probably going to cease grinding for the time being. I don't know if you saw that when I was bouncing on that platen. Getting old sucks, man. Sure does. I know I brought stairs. In case y'all are wondering what knife I have on me today, I am again carrying my birthday knife. Man, it's lightweight, it's 110V. I'm just unpacking some new foam for my Kydex press. Mine's, to say it's shot is an understatement. Apparently I've got it a little too hot a time or two. Skin this old foam off here. I don't think I've got any contact cement to put glue the new down, but I can just lay it in there for the time being. Hell, looking back on it, might have been quicker just cut 2 new pieces of wood and swap the clamp. Wouldn't doubt somebody in the chat didn't say that already. Turn the old oven on. I think my chat quit again. What's up, Bugsy? Just grinding out some blades, buddy. Fishing to make a Kydex sheath. Run order. That bad boy right there. This used to be a heathen, and I broke it. So it's been shortened. Now, it don't really have a name. Little Heathen, maybe? I don't know. But it belongs to Richard Kastner. I gotta get that out to him, so I gotta get him a sheath made. Let me go cut out this piece of, I guess I'll take y'all with me. I doubt the bandsaw's even plugged up. That bandsaw don't work worth a shit. Oh, she ain't plugged in. If you're ever contemplating buying a Harbor Freight bandsaw to cut Kydex, that is exactly all it is good for. Nothing else. So if all you're cutting is Kydex, hey, get you one. All right, let's get this in the oven and get it heating up. This is not my strong suit, guys. This is not a tutorial. Do not take advice from me on making Kydex. I certainly am not a pro at it. Not a journeyman, not an apprentice. I'm none of that shit. I squeak by and I make something that'll hold a knife. That's all I can do with it. Definitely not make anything nice. As y'all wondering, these scales do look a little bland. Going tomorrow, I found out that he can laser stipple. So I'm gonna have these scales stippled like a pistol grip. Looks like a shaman. Yeah, kind of a little bit, yeah. Enigma 7 codes. Hi there, bud. Oh. Going over here, get me a drink of water while that Kydex heats up. I'm going to get that done. I'm going to call it a night. That's the most pressing thing gets paid for. I can get it shipped out. I got a bunch that have to go to Kyle for sharpening, so I'm trying to get them all ready to go to him. What's up, Troy? Bugsy, it's almost that time. I'm going to see you in Atlanta, buddy. I'm feeling a lot better, man. Seems like my head's getting back on the right track. I'm glad I'm going to see you there. A little disappointed we ain't going to get to eat that beef rib, but it is what it is. I'm glad to hear that, Troy. I'm certainly glad to hear it. I wish it was a little prettier, but I did try to make that thing where it would chop and actually separate wood and be plenty tough doing it. So I was hoping it worked out that way. That's already starting to curl, so I can get ready to take that out. All right, let's get her clamped. Got the house ready. Oh, you already rented a place, Bugsy? Due to my lack of production last month, I don't think I'm going to be able to stay. I'm definitely coming, but I'm going to be able to afford to stay. I'll just have to drive in Friday or something, see everybody, go home. Oh, I just broke it. It's all right, though. It's still pressed. Well, next order of business, building a new Kydex press. That one just snapped. But fortunately, it's still under pressure right on the knife. It sounds like your chicken nuggets are done. That thing has cooked a mini a chicken nugget. No doubt about it, Troy. No doubt about it. Oh. Troy, there's your knife with its beautiful orange scales that you don't like. I'll be removing those in the next few days. Orange, just not a popular knife handle color, apparently. I got some Some blue G10 right here, but nobody wants blue G10 anymore. They all say that KC ruined it. Oh, I'm not leaving them, Troy. No, sir. Because to be honest with you, I don't care for them either. And it's just one side's on. But after I put it on, with that white liner, kind of looks like orange sherbet. Oh, orange creamsicle Goon XL. There we go. She's nice and sandwiched in there. Let that cool for a bit. I pulled an EDGY American today. I got my niece to comment on my opinion. Orange sherbet. My bad, Troy. My bad. Sherbet, whatever. Oh, God, there are knives everywhere in here. Just gotta get them all finished up. Put my trusty old Spyderco up. Hurry up, boy. It had been pretty good. Apparently, it got good and hot. It stuck together. That's always a good sign. If it didn't stick, it probably wasn't hot enough. I'm gonna go shut this door. Well, first I'm gonna blow all this metal dust out of here. So I'm gonna have to worry about that when I get ready to go. I figure out what we can do with the leaf blower. I think that's what we use diving in this place. Every time I go look for it, I can't find it. I bet it's out there in the house they're building. I think they've been using it to blow the floors out and stuff. Huh. Or one way to skin a cat. Ground's gonna be so iron rich, vanadium rich, it ain't funny. This is how I do this. I'm sure it's not right. Everybody's probably got a better way, but while it's stuck together, I go ahead and cut the majority of the excess off. Done with that, I'll drill the holes in it. Never matters how many plugs you have, you're always one short. I've got 3, but I guarantee if I put a 4 gang on the end of that, I'd need 5. Like I said, this is not a Kydex tutorial. I'm sure I'm doing something wrong or inefficiently or I just rivet the bottom so I can still open it and get the knife out because it's going to be a pain in the ass to get out right now. It's kind of suctioned in there. If you rivet it all the way up, you won't ever get the knife out. You'd have to put it back in the oven and soften it back up. If I just do the bottom, I should be able to. Probably making it harder on myself than it needs to be. I'm sure. That's typically what I do. All right, so now she ain't going anywhere. Of course, it's not shaped yet, so don't hate on it too much. Looking for my pry driver. Everybody knows what a pry driver is, right? That thing that says do not pry on it. I slid right out. The question is, will it pop in there like that? So we'll put another rivet in, see how tight she gets. Wish everything was that easy to tighten up. Just hammer a rivet in it. Now, I know how to reline a vagina, right? You shove in a ham and pull out the bone. Sorry, I guess that was super insensitive. I'll be damned. That was by far the easiest one I've ever done. That worked out quite nicely. Now we're just going to shape it. Thinking, man, that sure looks like he's going at that all willy-nilly without a plan. And you would be correct. You would be 100% correct. That's exactly what I just did. .100% willy-nilly, no plan. There it is. Done. Reason I'm the proudest of this is I only had to make one. I didn't have to do it 4 times. Pretty much a record. Found a burr. Let me go back and knock that off. I know what you're thinking. Where's the clip? I don't supply clips. Everybody has an opinion on what clip's the best and which one they want, so I just don't put a clip on it. There's rivets there. You can attach whatever clip you'd like. I think I'm done for the night, guys. I had about 3 hours. Been on here with y'all about 2.5. What did you turn sensitive? I don't care for it. When did you turn sensitive? I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I think I'm going to call it for the night. And my hope is to be heat treating by Sunday. And all I've got left to do is shape out the rest of these so I can get that done. But I got to take some pictures of a knife. It's not my design. It's not turning out the way that, I don't know. It just don't look like it does on paper. So I got to get some pictures of it and get it to the guy. You'd be surprised though, when you go to take things from a paper drawing and you turn it into metal, even if you copy it exactly, doesn't always translate. Doesn't always translate like you're thinking it's going to. Like I think this knife for Javon is just a little bit bigger than what he thinks it is, even though it's to his spec. But anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all hanging out tonight, and y'all have a good one. See ya.